The way I'm going to structure this session is it is your session, it is an optional session. I think it'd be nice if we structure it in a question and answer format. So it'll be an open frame in that sense. We'll get some questions out, and really I'll tell you what you want to know based on my experience of building businesses in the NLP world, or in the consultancy world, or in the sales world, in the marketing world, using the product, consultancy, training, personal development. And now, just a bit about my business background. Most of you, I think, know, because I've mentioned it a few times, my original business was in the financial services sector. One of the things I've always been fascinated in the field of entrepreneurship. That's one of the things that's really fascinated me. Because entrepreneurship, to be an entrepreneur is a very, very clean way, as is sales, to make a living. Because you get paid in direct relation to your results. You know, so out there in the big wide world, entrepreneurs who may fail, it may seem unfair to them, but the only reason an entrepreneur fails is because they got it wrong. They'd misjudged the market, they misjudged the product, they didn't do their research properly. There's a whole host of reasons, but you get paid in direct relation to your results. Therefore, it's useful to be able to embrace these skills, which I do think entrepreneurship is a skill set, and it's an attitude. It's an explorer's attitude. It's an adventurer's attitude to explore this attitude to make sure that when you go out there as an entrepreneur in the business of consultancy, training, and personal development, that you do get it right. Now, sales, I got involved in sales when I was 20, well, way back when I was 11 actually, as a very, very young man. And sometimes I tell the stories about when I started to sell as a kid who didn't have a lot of money, buckets and spades on Pevensey Bay Beach, which was a pebbly beach, I'll add as well. So, you know, which is a good. And I worked out that the rich kids would pay, who had lost their buckets and spades or whatever, and they'd broken their buckets and spades, and they couldn't be bothered to walk all the way out to the one shop there was. They would pay money for buckets and spades. So I made money selling buckets and spades and other toys for the beach when I was about 11 years of age. And from since then, I've always been, and as a service I supplied, I didn't realise at the time, but I was supplying them with a service. There was a market on Pevensey Bay, despite the fact it was a pebbly beach, for buckets and spades. And from there on, by the roll the clock forward 10 years, it seems like 10 years doesn't seem very long. When I'm 43 and I think back to 33, it doesn't seem very long, but the differences between an 11-year-old and a 22-year-old is vast. So there I was, 22 years of age, young and hungry and highly enthusiastic, and I entered the financial services sector, and I told you the other day that in my very first month I was the top salesperson in that organisation. One of the things that again fascinated me at that time was how people with the same product got such different results. And from a very early on in my financial services career, because that is another career, commission only, there was a saying there that our manager used to say, every salesman is unemployed in the morning. You know, and every entrepreneur is unemployed until he got a contract. So when we went in the morning, I very much embraced that. I'm unemployed until I make my, as it were, my appointments, make my contacts with my clients, and from nothing we created clients, wealth, long-term relationship, and wealth of the clients. And from those now sort of, 20 years later, although I'm no longer involved in that business, the effects of my work in that business are coming into fruition as people are enjoying their wealth as a result of the sales I made back then, because I still know many of my clients. And that's indeed fascinating. Again, it's a fascination to me how you build businesses. And I've got to say, I was really, really, really into this. And 4 years after starting as a young and hungry salesperson, I bought that company. And again, if you think about it, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, who I hadn't seen for a number of years. Is one of these situations where you share what's been happening with you for a number of years. And I said, look, you know, when I was 26, I bought this company, and I felt just so chuffed at myself. And it looked really good. This company looked good. And I, being a bit naive, didn't explore the accounts properly. I didn't go into it properly because I bought it off my boss. And he knew he was a smart man in one sense and not a smart man in another sense because I paid way too much for the company. Now, so all of a sudden, here we are, late 80s, offices in Bristol, Southampton and Oxford Street, nice sales force. You looked in at this business from the outside, it looked bloody good. Then we had that recession. Everything changed. Assets that were built into that organisation became a liability. Liabilities, we worked really hard just to keep that business working, but we did, you know. And from that point of view, it is again the attitude of an entrepreneur as to think it's not just how do you make a lot of money when things are going good, how do you make money or stay afloat when things aren't going good? Because invariably, whatever business you're in, there'll be things when you've got to respond to situations around you, which could well be the economy, it could be a decision you've made that took you down a wrong road, how you respond to situations when the going gets tough, and how you deal with situations when the going gets tough. It's just like luck, you know. Out there, people say, "Oh, crikey, he's lucky." You know, I don't believe in luck in the usual sense. You know, I believe that people who are lucky, what they do is they ride. I believe we all get good luck and bad luck in equal measures, and people who are successful ride the good luck and make it work for them, and they can. Sorry, I said that wrong. People who are successful make the good luck work for them when it comes their way. And when they get bad luck, they ride it out and don't let it get them down. And I do believe that happens. You get phases in your life when you're very lucky. Have you ever had those? You're just lucky, everything goes right. It's making that luck work. And there are other times in your life where you think you can't do anything right for a period of time. And it's how you manipulate that in that sense and ride it so it doesn't get you down. There's a great story about Gary Player who hit a ball out of the rough onto the green. And the commentator said, "Wow, you know, Gary, that was a lucky shot, wasn't it?" He said, "Funny that." He said, "The more I practice a shot, the luckier I get." You know, and that is a great saying about luck. So from there, I then in the mid 90s come across this thing called NLP, which I found to be highly useful in terms of business and entrepreneurial activities. Understanding people a bit better, understanding your own personal motivation, understanding where you're coming from, understanding what makes you tick. And I found this skill of NLP, or this set of tools, really useful in terms of my own business. So much so that I decided that I wanted to start a business in it. So when I got my practitioner certificate, I actually said to the guy as he handed me my certificate, "I'm going to hire you. I want you to come and work for me." And 6 weeks later, my first personal development business was born, and we were running firewalk seminars. And he was working for me because he was the lead trainer, because back then I didn't have the skills. And then from there on, I got the taste, if you like, of running seminars. So we started to run various different seminars, including firewalk seminars, board break seminars, sales seminars, all short and catchy stuff. And it's great fun. And I ran this business on a part-time basis alongside my financial services business, and there became a time when this other business, the financial services business, really grew. Excuse me, the NLP business really grew. And the financial services business was growing as well. The only thing is the financial services business was now becoming something I didn't want to do anymore. And this is where you have to trade in something. You think, right, this is something I'm quite good at. This is something that makes me a lot of money. Do I want to spend the rest of my life doing something I'm very good at that's making me a lot of money, but I don't enjoy it? And I think many of us might have faced that dilemma. Yeah? Just because you're good at it, just because it can make you money, just because you can, doesn't mean you have to. And I took a look around that business, and I took a look at the people who were 25 years older than me or 30 years older than me. I thought, do I want to be like them when I'm nearly 60? And I got a resounding no. And for me, this whole notion of NLP, personal development, communication, running these types of courses just become a business that I really wanted to be in. And so for 4 years, I ran this on a part-time basis. When I launched the NLP Academy in 2000, which is relatively a young NLP company, we sought to become the leaders in the field. I had this attitude, I had this mission to really, really do something special in this field of NLP. And it's that what drove me. And to do so, I sought out the best in the world.